Hello, and welcome to Hero Up, the podcast that inspires and challenges you to step up and become heroic in all areas of your life. I'm your host, Tony Stark Policci, and it's my goal to give you practical, actionable advice and insights into copywriting, mindset, lifestyle, and impact. On this show, we'll explore how to create compelling and persuasive marketing messages, and I'll give you clever tips to make you stand out as a hero. Whether you're an entrepreneur, a freelancer, a coach, or a creative, this podcast is for you. So, let's dive in. Hi there, my name is Tony Stark Policci. Welcome to the Hero Up podcast. This show will give you incredible inspiration, ideas, and real-life actionable tips to help you be the best that you can be in your business and your life, and make you the hero you were born to be for yourself and for everyone else in your life. So let me tell you a little bit about who I am so you know what to expect. I've been writing direct response copy and serving as a direct response marketing consultant since 1994. I, along with my younger brother, Joe Polish, founded a company called Piranha Marketing. This was back in the early 90s, and that's where I cut my teeth as a direct response marketer, and I learned how to write copy. My primary mentors were guys like Dan Kennedy, Gary Halbert, Ted Nicholas, and Brian Keith Foyle. It's not just guys like they were the guys. And I had the opportunity to work with them and some other fantastic people. And I learned a lot from the greatest marketers in the business. Over the 6 years that I was vice president at Piranha Marketing, we became the top marketing agency in the cleaning industry. And the time I spent working with Joe was fundamental in cementing my love for marketing and my desire to help business owners and entrepreneurs. So Joe Polish really is my blood brother. That's something people don't know about. I'll explain why we have different names here in a minute. But the biggest lesson that I learned early in my career was how to create a lifestyle that allows you to call your own shots. And, if you don't want to be someone else's employee, if you want to create your own sense of freedom, if you would like to create a lifestyle where you have more control than the average person when it comes to where you work, when you work, how much you earn, then tuning into this podcast will give you tremendous advantages in creating more freedom. And I'll be sharing real and often raw life experiences that I know will be beneficial to you. So let's circle back to the thing about my name. Tony Stark Policci. Yes, that really is my name, but I was born Tony Polish, just like my brother Joe Polish. When I was in junior high, I was living in the great state of Texas. And if your middle school and junior high years were anything like mine, most of us are idiots, right? Kids are trying to fit in and deal with their own awkwardness, and we can be horrible to one another. Well, there were a lot of wannabe pubescent cowboys there who thought it was great fun to use terms like Polak and Polish sausage to make jokes about my name. Now, having lived on the East Coast for a while, I had a lot of real Polish friends. They had names like Kowalski and Zabatowski. And, people making ignorant comments about being a Polak, it just bothered me. Well, that summer, I mentioned this to my aunt, and she told me, Polish isn't your real name. Then she told me this story of how our grandfather, how when he came over from Italy, they changed his name at Ellis Island, and that our real name was Policci. So I made a decision right then and there that when I was old enough, I was going to take back my original name. I was going to change my name back to our original Italian name. And at 18 or 19, that's exactly what I did. Now, there was another rumor about the spelling of our name. So when I changed it, I used a more phonetic version to spell the name to make it easier to pronounce. But sadly, people still screw it up. So there you have it. Now, Joe never changed his name. And we were able to have a lot of fun, not letting people know that we were brothers in the business together. And that's the short version of why Joe Polish and I have different last names. But we really are brothers. Now, that's only part of the story. Fast forward a few years later, when those Iron Man movies came out, 2008, I think it was, I was very involved in my local church, and the kids started calling me Tony Stark. And they did this because I look a little bit like Robert Downey Jr. And at the time I was wearing my beard exactly like he was in the movie. And it just kind of it was happenstance. And the nickname stuck. Now, I always loved comics and superheroes as a kid. So it motivated me to, start living this life that was more of a rebirth, a transformation. Now, if you know about my brother Joe Polish's background, you might know a little bit about me. Both of us have experience with trauma. We lost our mother when we were very young. I was 8, Joe was 4, and we both experienced abuse and had struggles with addiction. And, we both have worked hard to heal from all that and transform our lives. We also ended up doing an awful lot of work in helping others as we grew ourselves. That's part of my past. And much like Robert Downey Jr. and much like Tony Stark in the Iron Man comic books, there was this transformation, a change. And that's something that I stand on. I really resonated with that. So interestingly enough, I kind of gained an affinity for this Tony Stark and Iron Man nickname. So lo and behold, a few years later, after going through a huge crisis in my business and a divorce, I found myself having coffee with this beautiful woman. I only knew her as the mother of one of my son's friends previously, but it turned out her marriage had just ended too. And we were chatting, and I found out that her maiden name was Stark. Like, holy coincidence, Stan Lee. Well, after we went out on our first official date, I came home and I told my sons, hey, did you know Miss Donna's original last name is Stark? They didn't, but the enthusiastic question from my oldest, who was also a superhero fan, like today he's a total genius. I mean, he predicts stuff before Marvel does it. He says, Dad, if you marry her, would you really be Tony Stark? And I just said, well, it doesn't usually work that way. Typically, the wife takes the man's name, but I thought it was kind of a fun idea. And so 2 years later, when I actually married this beautiful woman, I added her name to mine. So my name is legally Tony Stark Policci. And that's where that came from. Now I want to talk to you about what inspired me to start this podcast. It is called Hero Up, and it really is about how to become the hero in your life, to your clients, to your customers, to your family, to your community. First and foremost, I'm going to have guests on this podcast who will share all kinds of real life experience, wisdom, information about how to succeed in your business and in your career for chasing your goals, your dreams, your aspirations. But also, I'm going to talk about real life things, right? Like dealing with conflict, trauma, having grit, fear, faith, fitness. Not too many, if anything, will be off limits. There's plenty of other ways that we can step up and be heroes in our life. We have to be heroes to our families. We have to be heroes to our partners and spouses. We can be heroes to our communities. We can be heroes to our friends. We can be heroes to strangers. And if there's one thing that I've learned many, many times, is there is a tremendous amount of adversity in life. And you know that if you've been alive for any time, right? And those who come out on top are the ones that are heroes, the ones that can step into that adversity and overcome it and continue to go and continue to press on and not let the tough times drag them down. So I've had the blessing and the challenge of overcoming a tremendous amount of difficulties and obstacles. I'm not saying my life's harder than anybody else's, but I can relate to what it's like to struggle from abuse and trauma and addiction and, all kinds of different issues. So these are the things that we just experience as human beings on this planet, no matter what you're doing, whether you're running a business or running a family or just running your own life, we all have opportunities to hero up. So my guests are going to not only bring out information about what it takes to succeed in accomplishing your goals, both business and professional, but also in creating a lifestyle that you love. And they're also going to share practical, actionable ideas from their life experience about getting through difficult times and overcoming all kinds of things, right? We're going to talk about hacks for how to be the best that you can be and live your best life. And I know that sounds, like kind of a buzzword, but that's really my goal here. Well, the focus of Hero Up is primarily going to be about helping you market your business and create amazing marketing messages by using direct response copywriting. We're also going to throw in some real life practical living skills into the mix too, because you can have a tremendous business. You can write the most compelling, converting messages that generate millions of dollars. But if you're alone and if you're miserable and if you don't have any peace, then none of that really matters, right? So I was inspired to start this podcast for two reasons. My life mission is to create a world of faith and hope. I'm a man of faith. I love God. And at this stage of my life, I realized that I want to leave a legacy too. Part of that legacy is sharing life experience and wisdom that I believe can help other people during difficult times where they may feel there is little or no hope, or not know how to get to the next level, or maybe feel alone. And I'm not saying I have all the answers, but I have some of them. And every single one of us, in my belief, has the ability to be a hero, to show up as a hero. And you can do that in your own life as well in the lives of others. So I think you're going to enjoy the conversations that we have and the guests that I bring to you. So I'm looking forward to having you part of this. I want you to let you know that I'm going to be very transparent in this podcast too. There'll probably won't be anything that I refuse to talk about. And I will do my best to be considerate of what people think, but I'm not going to candy coat things. And I'm definitely not going to shy away from difficult topics. I'll do my best to make this family friendly, but I can't always guarantee it's going to be free from, certain colorful words or things like that. I mean, I'm going to be real. I'm probably the only guy that's ever dropped an F-bomb in a prayer circle. I want to be transparent with you. I want to be very real because I think there's just a tremendous lack of connection nowadays. As I'm recording this, it's currently the start of 2024. AI is all over the place. And I think that one of the things that society is desperately lacking is true connection, authentic connection. And I've heard that connection is the new currency. I like that term because I think it's true. So part of that is being transparent, being authentic. So I will strive to be that in all of my conversations. And I hope that that is appealing to you. I also want to give a shout out to all of the people that have been supportive of me. First and foremost, my loving wife, Donna, she's absolutely amazing. She is the wind beneath my wings, so to speak, to be cliche. But, it's so important to have a partner who supports you and stands for you. And I feel blessed to have that because not everybody does. And someone that loves you. For my kids, I have 6 wonderful kids. Some of them are stepkids and, my biological kids, but they all push me to be a better man, a better human being, a better father. They've taught me how to love. They've taught me humility. They've taught me so much about life. And for my tons of friends, so many, a couple stand out, like Rob Anspach, who's been a friend for decades and has helped me publish my international best-selling book on copywriting. And my friend Terry, who's been a friend even longer, he also helped me publish the very first version of that book as an ebook. And of course, my brother Joe Polish, for all that he did to introduce me to this world of marketing and all he continues to do to make the world a better place. And for all my guests who will be coming, I want to let you know that I'm grateful for every single one of them that comes on the show and every single one of you that's listening. So let's talk a little bit about the release schedule in the podcast. My goal here in the beginning is to release at least one podcast a week, and then I plan to scale that up. I'm looking to do 2 or maybe more. I do keep a busy schedule. I'm still actively writing copy for clients as I record this, although I do have a team that's called the Copy Avengers, and that's another story. It's a small team of dedicated, brilliant superhero copywriters, and I do keep a very busy schedule. So I'm also involved in training and teaching others about marketing and copywriting, and I also run development groups for men and other things. So the ambitious schedule of 2 or more podcasts a week is something I will work up to. But to start with, I'm going to be doing at least once a week, and I can guarantee you that. So the structure of the podcast will be to bring guests in and get them to spill their secrets about such things as their marketing wins and some of the strategies and the techniques that they've learned that have produced great results for them, things that you can use in your own life. I'm also going to ask them tough questions about their lives. So as a listener, one of the things that will really help me create a podcast and a show that's going to appeal to you is if you share with me, what do you want to know? What are the kinds of challenges that you're having in your business and in your life? What are the pains and the problems that you're facing? What are the things in society that are bothering you? What are some of the family challenges that you see today that you would like me to go out and bring guests on to talk about? I'm happy to do that. One of the tremendous advantages that I have after being involved in marketing and working for lots of famous people for decades is I know a lot of folks. And if you know anything about my brother, he is like the master connector. There's hardly anyone that Joe Polish can't connect with. And if you don't listen to his podcast, the Genius Network, you should go listen to it. But with a little luck, I'll be able to bring you just about any amazing guest that can talk about what you want to know about. And I'm also going to bring in people that nobody knows about. All right? Because there are plenty of podcasts out there that interview famous, well-known people or celebrities. They bounce from one podcast to another, people in the industry or in the world that you know. And the thing is, part of being a hero is being a real person. And some of the most inspiring individuals I know, you would never recognize their name if I said it. And you would never know about them unless I brought them to you. So I think you're going to be surprised by the quality of the people that I bring on, the wisdom and the insight that is shared by the people who I bring on who you would otherwise never know about. And I'm also open to recommendations. Let's say I do a podcast and you are moved or compelled by something that we talked about. And you think, hey, I know so-and-so, and man, they would make a great guest, or they could talk about this. Well, I'd love to hear about it. So I'll always be open for your suggestions and your feedback. I would like you to be respectful and kind, though. There will be interviews that are solo podcasts. There will be interviews on topical discussions, and I'll even be doing teachings, perhaps. I will do my best to divide those things up so that you have playlists and you can, find topics that you want and enjoy it. There will be a variety of different guests from all kinds of genres. We'll talk about a wide variety of topics. So there'll be a lot of interesting things that apply across the board. And I don't think anybody's going to get bored with the guests that I bring on and the topics that we discuss. So I think I've covered everything. Some topics you'll like more than others probably, and some you may not like at all. But you take the good with the bad, right? Other than that, we're going to promote the podcast on other social media channels, but the top podcast platforms and YouTube is where you'll find us primarily. All right. And so that's it. Welcome to the Hero Up Podcast. Thank you so much for taking a look at this. I would love if you would just subscribe and hit that notification bell if you're on YouTube so that you can be sure to see when the next podcast episode is released. And until then, thank you so much. I absolutely look forward to an amazing, incredible time bringing you content and helping you to hero up and be the hero in your life. Thanks again. I look forward to talking to you soon. Thank you for tuning in to Hero Up. I hope today's episode challenged you to step up as a hero in your field and provided you with valuable insights to express your unique voice and message. If you found this episode helpful and motivating, please leave a review and share it with your friends and family. And remember to subscribe so you don't miss out on future episodes and amazing guests. Until next time, find your voice, share your message, live your mission.